Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Awaken Your Spirit. I am Julie Murphy, and I am the author of a book called Awaken Your Wealth. Actually, I happen to have a copy right here, Awaken Your Wealth. And money is the result of everything else happening in your life, which is why I started this Awakening series, because we need to look at how to awaken your health, your relationships, your work life, and most importantly, awaken your spirit within yourself. It's time for you to let your freak flag fly and be exactly who you are in every aspect of your life. Now, I am not the spirit soul expert, but my friend David is. David, tell everybody about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Well, I'm here in Sedona, and I feel a lot of energy happening around the planet right now. And Joe and I were having a discussion. I said, you know, there's a lot of energy, a lot of light actually coming into the Earth's atmosphere, and that's going to quicken or maybe move your energy to where you feel like things are moving faster, or something is about to unfold, or stuff is coming up. And Julie and I were talking about it. Yeah, it's a time where we're going through a lot of purification, a lot of clearing, a lot of cleaning away of what we're not. And so we're all in these in this process of total transformation and reconfiguration of our consciousness. And so it's a time of a lot of introspection and a lot of change.
Yeah, it's time, you know, and you and I were talking about the fact that it's no longer about that we need to push or we need to do. We just need to allow things to rise. You know, I've always known the statement that if you don't accept everything that arises in your life, then you're choosing to suffer. And trust me, there have been things in my life that I'm like, I don't really understand why I'm at a place where I spent $600,000 in 11 months trying to get divorced when I decided to start being my authentic self. But it's like, I needed to accept the fact that that was the reality, because that was all the fear and anxiety and everything that was all around it. And it was like, today more than ever, accepting whatever arises. And the change isn't going to stop. We are in an accelerated pace of change right now. And I think that's where, when there's so much coming from so many angles, pick it, whether it's political, educational, financial, you know, pick your shtick, right? It's going to come up and it's going to affect you, because there's massive infrastructure change that is occurring. And so it's time to build your wealth from what I call the inside out, as opposed to from the outside in. When we try to take things from a referral perspective of, hey, here's everything going on at large, it really actually doesn't matter what's going on at the world at large. What matters is how you respond to it. And are you responding from it from your core, or are you responding from your ego mind? And I think that's a really big piece, which is why we have to start rolling a little bit more with peace, calm, and tranquility. It's not that we don't, you know, address things. I don't want us to stick our head in our sand, but allow the universe to orchestrate and get things done. Because I know you know that better than most people. Right, David?
Right. So, you know, as we're on this, sometimes these days it feels like a roller coaster, because everything keeps shifting and changing. The world that we used to know no longer exists, so we're all adjusting to new circumstances, a new way of holding reality, a whole new way of consciousness, and having to deal with our relationship with change. And I will also call that change metamorphosis, which is the evolution of our consciousness, the evolution of our planet. And what I mean by that is that if we don't succumb to fear, and open ourselves to what the new possibilities are, and are able to go into our heart and really look at our wealth. If you look at everything that you love, the people that you love, the things that you hold dear, and realize that you probably have a wealth of friends, you have wealth in your family, and that we're all on this journey together. And so we've co-created this. And if we take ourselves out of a victim script, then we go, okay, I don't know why I chose this, but I chose it. So I'm all right. Right? I must have been delirious that day. But, yeah.
Here like, I remember going, okay, I understand on some level our souls have chose the paths that we're walking. And I'm like sitting there going, why did I call this in again? And why am I like 2 years post-divorce, I'm like going, wow, did I choose a doozy? But it's okay. Like, it's really interesting that now that I'm, in a place of being able to observe it and just kind of ride the waves. I literally bought myself a ring that has waves on it. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's a reminder to me. I actually just bought it last weekend when I was in Sedona doing this session with you. And it's about riding the wave. Just be that surfer, be that one that's just riding the wave and being like, okay, I don't need to crash. I don't need to call in a crisis. I don't need to create destruction and lash out and project on everybody else as I move through everything. It's like, just ride the wave, because I gotta tell you, it's a hell of a lot more fun. So that you can observe everything. It's not that everything's peaches and cream. It certainly is not, but it's about just ride the wave and accept and go, even from my children's perspective, that they also chose this experience on a soul level so that they can go through what they're going through because of whatever work they're meant to do in the world. And we all have our story to that, and I'm a big proponent to share my story because I think that helps people along the way. And it's been amazing to me to watch how, if we can all continue to hold space for each other to go through whatever arises, then we can get to this healthier place collectively with a lot more ease and grace. But it's an inside job, not an outside job. It's not you trying to fix other people. It's about go inside and fix yourself. And then, it's just like I say in my book that you push every decision out from that vantage point, from that place of inner wealth and inner authenticity, and choose your work life based on that, and your family life and your financial life, as opposed to having it come from outside referral outside of yourself of like, well, I should get this job because it's so much income and so much this and so much that. Like, no. This is about heart and soul. It's about really connecting, because you had said this week that we're at a threshold. Can you tell people about this energetic threshold that's going on right now?
Yes. So I started to, I felt energy building is the best way to say it. I felt something is building. I can feel the energy. And so we do that individually. We do it collectively. And so as we start to connect into our more advanced levels of light or connection. So part of the process of what's going on with people now is we're in a process of becoming light in form. We're beginning to connect with light from other dimensions, light from the central sun. And that's all part of our cosmology that has been dormant, and it is now being activated. So you may feel like there's a lot more energy coming into your field, and not know why.
Right.
Or oftentimes people, this energy comes in and they don't know what to do with it. So, you know, if
So
they've got
can we
some,
talk to people about like, what does it feel like? So for me, like I know when we go into a dream state, like when we go to sleep, this is one of the ways, that it comes into our systems. Like this morning, I am super tired. Like I'm like, oh, this full moon that just came the other day and everything. Like yesterday, I held space and didn't react or respond at all like I've ever done in the future. Getting my kids to new therapists and, dealing with stuff on the work perspective and relationship perspective, like everything just took every ounce of energy that I had to just allow myself to ride with the wave as everything was coming. And like my kids for the second time just got removed from school because my daughter was coughing and now they have to go get COVID tests. And I'm like, man, pulling 4 kids, first of all, getting 4 kids out the door to school. And then 2 hours later, have them all pulled out of school to go get COVID tests. I'm like, oh man, like the practicality of it is like, all right, well, I'm super grateful they go to school most days and, work has gotten a little bit easier. And it's really interesting in how then last night, after I responded in such a different way to the world yesterday, how like I worked over, I feel, and so I want people to know that that's how you can tell. So sometimes, David, I know when you and I started working together years ago that you would say things and I'm like, what does that mean? And now I understand it because I physiologically have felt it. And so we don't necessarily have to have these light levels be on a consciousness. Just know that it happens often in your dream state as well. So I just thought I'd share that with people.
well, I think that that's great to make it, to bring in clarity. And, I was thinking about, you've been talking about the wave all morning, right? And I was thinking about, for many years, I lived on the ocean and I was on the beach every day. And so I would, really be aware of the waves. And sometimes there would be huge waves, colossal waves.
Right.
And, I would watch people that really didn't know too much about the ocean go out there and literally get clobbered by the waves, And I go, and the truth was all they had to do was dive through them. And if you dive through it, then it was an easy flow. It was nothing.
Totally.
And otherwise, you could just get knocked back really hard and everything. And I think that's kind of metaphorical for where we are now. It's like, it's like we can either do things with grace and ease. And part of that means that we rather than going into everything very reactive and fearful, and that we allow ourselves to have the ability to, part of this is structure. And either we can have a rigid structure or we can have a flexible structure. And if you learn to flex, then when things are coming your way and you flex, it's smooth and it can even be graceful and sometimes even elegant.
Right.
But if you're rigid, life can beat the hell out of you. And so when I was talking about a lot of energy, a lot of shifts of energy, it's happening all over the planet. So it's like allowing yourself to move with the flow of what is.
Right.
Without really becoming embedded in it.
Right.
You just allow it to flow. You don't even need to take it in. So if there's a lot of negativity going on, you don't have to embody it. You can go, yeah, not mine. I'm going to let it go, and just let it move on by, rather than thinking that you have to do something about things that you can't do anything about. This is the truth of the matter, right?
Yep.
And so what I heard you saying about yesterday is you had a lot of different things going on, and you were just flowing. There's that word again, flow, just flowing with what was, not being reactive, but being, just taking action where required.
Well, and I recall, like, they say this a lot in meditation to, be the observer of what's going on. And I never really truly understood that until like now it's like, you know what? A big part for me, for those of you who are A-type personalities out there, like I had to learn how to accept support, because Julie was able to do everything. And yesterday, when I allowed, you know, my kids' attorney, the parent coordinator, and the therapist, they all did their magic. And I just sat there and it was literally handed to me on a silver platter of exactly what is the highest and best for my kids at this point. And it was beautiful. And so as opposed to me trying to go and like interview 10 different therapists, you know what? I just allowed people to support me. And this is where we've talked about this before, that it's the heart-based consciousness, which is the divine feminine energy, which we all have divine masculine and divine feminine, that the allowing and the receiving, that is the divine feminine. And it's really embodying that way of being in the world, which creates then less suffering. It's not that we don't do, we just lead with the allowing and the receiving. And then once we allow and receive, then do the tactical steps behind that. And we've been for decades doing the opposite, which is what has compounded our suffering cycles. So what do you think about bringing people into the energy of it all?
Sure. You want to open up the energy fields today? So
let's do it. Let's open up the energy fields. Let people feel the energy. Let's go into a meditation so that they can feel it. Okay. That'd be great.
Okay. So, the one thing I want to say is, and as we're doing this energy, I want you to feel your heart start to open, and you're like, well, what does the heart have to do with it? The heart has to do with creativity. And when you're in creativity, you're in flow. And when you're in flow, then your money flows. And totally. It's like the whole system is opened up and allowing and receiving. Mm-hmm. And so part of the whole process of the flow of money is the give and take. And so when people get frightened, they shut down, they close down, and that's when everything kind of starts to stop. So we really today, the intention is to really flow this energy. And I actually have a money candle that I lit for the group today. When Julie was here last week, we were at this metaphysical bookstore, and she comes and she's like, you should have one of these. I'm like, what's that? She says, it's a money candle. I'm like,
money
really?
Candle.
Well, there you go.
I actually have them all around my work desk.
Well, it works so well, I went and bought all of them. Of course,
well,
right?
And I believe it's about bringing light, and it's about setting your intentions for what it is that you want to create. No different than I have these candles that, and these 4 little statues. I created like a little altar in my house for my 4 kids. My oldest needs a lot of healing. My second, she needs to really infiltrate more happiness into her life. My third one needs protection because she's like a little fairy. She takes on everybody else's stuff, so she needs protection. And my little guy just needs a bunch of love. And so it's like I got those candles that align with the chakras. And, when my kids are not with me, I light those candles, and just try to bring light. And, I don't know. For me, it's like it's holding sacred space, if you will, or it's and bringing light to what an intention to whatever it is that you would like to create in the world.
It really works well. I think we'd mentioned before last week a little bit about creating an altar in your house, and it can be as simple as just, some candles on a table somewhere. But what it does is, so I have this altar space in my house, and there's pictures and things that remind me of the sacredness and the joy of life. And the candles are there. And so if I'm going through my day, I go, oh yeah, that's what it's all about. There's my focus. And so
right.
They're simple things, but they're powerful things in their own right.
Totally. Right.
So
exactly.
We're going to go into an energy. And, it's like, you don't even have to worry about my words. They're really, it doesn't matter. It's just words to focus so that we can open our hearts and go into our core and go into our creativity. And also this is about, you know, with all the change that's going on, this is also about great awakenings within ourselves. Aspects of ourselves that perhaps have been dormant that now are going to flower and open up.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you know, it's exciting. It's really exciting. It's like when everything's the same, yeah, things run smoothly, but you know, it's like when there's change, it's like, wow, you know, what opens up inside? What feelings, what emotions, perhaps what power. Maybe as you go through all these transformations, you realize, man, I hold a lot more power. I hold a lot more intensity than I thought I did. Because if you're not challenged, you don't know, right?
Right.
Right. Okay, so
let's do it.
What?
I said, let's do it. Let's bring him into the energy.
Yeah, okay, I get it. And so I want you to go into your core. And so when I speak of going into your core, I'm talking about once you go into your heart center, I want you to focus on that which gives you joy, that which makes your heart sing, that creates warmth, some sunshine in your life. And as we're going into that, I'd like you to also open up your creative powers and imagine yourself in a pyramid of 24 karat golden light. And you're going to be standing at the very base of this pyramid in this radiant light. There are actually 13 of them. And at the base are 3 circles of light of 13 pointed stars, 13 dream weavers, and 13 mama dragons. And I want you to feel a 24 karat golden light coming up into your feet, your toes, your arches, your heels. Feel that golden plasma light moving up your legs, into your hips, into the base of your spine. I'd like you to feel a radiant central sun at the base of your spine. Feel the radiance of that. Feel the warmth of it. And feel that golden light moving up your spine. When you get to your heart center, I'd like you to feel an explosion of light. I'd like you to just focus on the love in your life as you open your heart. Again, we're going to place the central sun there, and I want you to feel the radiance of that love. And for all the moms there, maybe even some of the dads, just think how much you love your children, what an eternal relationship you have with them. And we just kind of get that opening, and we're going to continue bringing that golden light up your spine into your shoulders. Feel it flowing through your upper arms, your lower arms, your hands, your fingers. Feel that golden light vibrating in your palms and your fingertips. And we're going to go to the brainstem, where we're going to place, once again, another central sun. Now I want you to feel the radiance of that as it moves throughout your whole entire nervous system. Feel it activating your endocrine system. We're going to connect the central sun at the base of the spine to the central sun at the base of the brainstem with a toric field, which is like a figure 8 that goes from the base of the brainstem through your heart to the base of the spine and back. And that's just going to be a continuous flow of light as we continue to work. And at the brainstem, we're going to activate your thymus, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your pineal gland. And the pineal gland is a very important gland. It's in the center of the brain, and that's the part of your brain that is connected to the much vaster universe. We call it the multiverse. So we're going to place a central sun in your the center of your brain, the pineal gland, and I want you to feel the radiance of that. I want you to feel the neurotransmitters in your brain really being activated. Feel a golden light coming in, and we want to feel that radiance as we expand the pineal gland from global to galactic and from galactic to interdimensional, so that we're switching on now the multiverse. So that's you as you're connected to many different universes, many different planets, connecting you into the central sun, just everything's switching on, and it's switching on your capacity as a brain function to go be able to function in a holographic and multidimensional consciousness, which will connect you into also galactic levels of light. And from there, we're going to just like you to start spiraling through your third eye, out your crown. And we're going to travel through the galactic corridor as plasma, light, and form, feeling the plasma of your blood merging with the plasma of the central sun. Feel yourself continuing through that galactic corridor, through a galactic gateway. And we're going to come into these fractals of light. And the fractals of light are like a beautiful kaleidoscope of fractal or prismatic light. And I'd like you to just start projecting into those fractals or that kaleidoscope any and all emotion, thought, that anything that you want to shift your perspective on. And we're going to start going directly into a radiant sun. And in the very center of that sun is kind of an all-seeing eye or oculus. We're going to just, and as we're starting to move into that, I want you to imagine that you're going directly into the sun. And as you go into the sun, I'd like you to feel that connection with your heart. Feel it really opening your heart. Feel this wonderful connection of light flowing through your entire being. We're just going to allow that energy to keep flowing and expanding. I'm also going to, I live on a portal of the Divine Mother. We're going to open up the energy of the Divine Mother. There we go. And so we've been talking about flow. We want to just feel a flow of love, a flow of light moving through your field. We feel that flow of light and energy releasing your engagement with your mental functions and just allowing yourself to flow. In your creativity. Feel that flow also affecting your finances. Everything is flowing, everything is connecting. That you don't have to manage everything, that sometimes things work better if you just let go. Allow them to flow. And allow divine intelligence to guide and direct you. Knowing that in this now moment, all is well. Feel your mind being filled with light, filled with joy. And all the things that you feel in life that are wonderful and joyful are coming to mind, are coming up. All the blessings. Everything that opens your heart. So how's this energy feeling to you, Julie?
Super relaxing.
Okay.
I could actually feel like the unplugging of things occurring in my brain. And I could feel myself then drop into my heart.
So, part of the reason we would focus or do energy work or meditate is to change our state. So oftentimes, it's just being able to change how we're feeling, how we're thinking, kind of moving into a reset.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we learn to do that, the more mastery we have over our own emotions and our own thoughts, our own lives. And to where once you have that mastery, once you learn those techniques, it's a go-to that will serve you well, because
Mm-hmm.
you can always go back to your peace. You can always go back to that place within yourself
Mm-hmm.
where you're untouched by the world.
Totally.
And that's part of mastery.
Mm-hmm.
We master our money, but we must master our emotions and our thoughts. And when we can do all of that, that's true wealth.
Mm-hmm. What keeps coming up as you say that is that we learn to be in a state of grace. And when you come from that place of neutrality, that's when it creates the energetic space for everything else then that you desire to rise and come into your life.
Right.
But it's about, we have to get in this place in neutrality, that to get in this place of creativity. And when we're fighting about politics, when we're fighting about the educational systems, and when we're fighting against cancer, fight, you can't be in that state of grace.
Right.
Because
well, the difference is that, when we're reactive, it's like it cuts off our creative flow. We're in our minds.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes when we're in our minds, we're out of our minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so it's getting back to and it cuts us off from our heart. Okay. So it's the journey into fear. And it's like, once we realize that we're going in that direction, then we're like, this has got to stop. This
Right.
is not going to do me any good nor anybody else.
Right.
And so that's why it's a very important part of wealth, because you can have piles of money, but if you're feeling tortured all the time, that's not wealth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's so true. And we don't realize that, I always talk about, for us to get into a state of what I call real wealth. And that's creating happiness from within and then designing your outer world based on that. And whatever season of life that you're in, it's okay to change. It's okay to shift. And, my Catholic upbringing, if you would have told me that I was, you know, dating somebody else, prior to 50, just before 50, it was like, what? Like, you're supposed to settle down, have kids, stay with that person, and then die with that person. And it's like, this is not the season of life that I'm in, and making adjustments and changing. And it's really interesting how it almost gives people around you permission to also do the same thing, but yet they are going to be super uncomfortable when you take that step forward into that state of neutrality and that state of grace that you want to be in your life. And just know that if you always follow your heart, that's always the right answer, despite whatever limiting beliefs that may come up for you in how you're supposed to be in the world at this point in your world.
Well, I think, what you were saying is also in any kind of relationship we're in, whether it's a personal relationship or a business relationship, when things start to get challenging, we can take the lead and literally steer that situation into a place of letting the other person know, hey, I'm not here to challenge you. I'm here to help you. I want to communicate with you. Let's figure this out. And, all it takes is kind of that kind of maneuver when a person realizes, okay, this, that this is not a challenge to me, that somebody's actually trying to help me and figure it out. That changes the whole dynamic.
Sure.
And so I think, that in being proactive in that way and really just, moving into your mastery and going, the outcome of this, I want to frame this in a way that is productive. I want to frame it in a way that's loving and that is clear. And so that's part of mastery too.
Right.
So when we talk about mastery, it's about rather than being defensive, and when we're in fear, we're defensive. It's about going into a part of ourselves and going, how can I make this better for everybody? And so that's definitely, and what I heard you talking about yesterday was you were holding space, Julie, for everybody else, right?
Absolutely.
And holding space so things could flow, so things could stay neutral and productive. And that's mastery. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to that place because of the fact that I've really gotten alignment with my heart and soul and what my heart and soul really desires, which kind of leads me to, so if people who are watching want to do more of that and activate more of their soul and get in alignment, how do people find you? How do people do some of that work with you? Because God knows you've been a blessing in my life and I would love to share you. How do people get a hold of you, David?
You can actually find me at 𝐾𝐻𝙧, �GILARDY.com. And I would love to hear from anybody that's interested. And the journey of awakening, the journey of connection, and I want to say reconnection, because we are beings of light. We are beings of love. When we come here to this planet, sometimes we get compromised, and so it's about moving out of old programs, old thought forms, old stories, dissolving those stories, and creating a new life for ourselves. So as we move into the heart, we become creators rather than reactors. And it can change your life.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, and everyone, if you want to come to juliemurphy.com, I am going to be giving away my book, Awaken Your Wealth. All you have to do is pay for shipping. We'll be doing that in the next couple weeks. So if you go to juliemurphy.com and just put in your email address, we'll let you know when we're doing that. And we look forward to everyone joining us again next week for Awaken Your Spirit at 8 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Pacific. And everyone have a really great week.
Yes,
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful week. So
Thanks,
good.
everyone.
All righty. Bye-bye.